Greetings and welcome to Enigmatic. It's been a while. It's been a while because I have a hard time being consistent. And I have a hard time being consistent not only because I'm busy and tired, but also because that is part of my mental health struggles. Because in particular, I struggle to be consistent with things that I want to do. Um, and so that's kind of a disconnect with self. There's a lot of things that I don't really know, like what I want in life, for example, what makes me happy, things like that. Some of which can be traced back to things that occurred and were experienced in childhood, which in the past few weeks has been something that has been greatly on my mind. Something I've been navigating and exploring, as painful as it can be. And just in wanting to do this and choosing to really push myself to make sure that I did do it. And this is the 7th time that I've attempted to make this video today. I wanted to share with love and with grace with everyone to just really prioritize and take care of your mental health. Even though it seems that there's more and more mental health awareness that is surfacing in society, it also seems that it's something people don't really take seriously very much. In our mental health and our emotions and our mood and our feelings, not only are they all interconnected and intertwined, but through that interconnection and being intertwined, there's a flow of impact that can be traced. So, a certain state will affect your thoughts. Thoughts will affect your words and actions that fall into a pattern and become habitualized, become behaviors. And there's a lot of nasty behaviors out in the world right now, and all we can do as individuals, because we can't control anybody else or what anybody else does, and we can't control what happens to us, is to find our sense of balance and our sense of center as calamity happens around us. And so I really just wanted to advocate and encourage people to really take care of their mental health. Some of the things that I do, and I do some of these things because right now I can't afford to see a therapist. I don't have the time to look for one, nor do I have insurance or the funds to pay out of pocket. But, I've been in therapy in the past, so I was able to collect a repertoire of tools for a, psychological toolbox. And, more tools are learned in my career as a psychedelic guide. But I also meditate regularly. It's just important in my opinion, for us to take time for ourselves and to really be with ourselves and our emotions in a way that doesn't try to mitigate, ameliorate, or relieve anything sometimes. So if we're feeling anxiety, to really just sit and be with our anxiety, let it do what it needs to do, observe it without judgment, and watch how it runs its course, how over time it will dissipate, and how that kind of practice can only make us more resilient to it. And I think that I'll talk more on meditation in the future, but I do recommend that wholeheartedly to anyone and everyone. And anybody can meditate, and everybody can reap benefits from it. Sometimes when we feel that we can't, that is a certain kind of block that meditation can help us to relieve. And sometimes also some of the difficulties that we might experience in doing so might be related to some kind of trauma that we have experienced at some point in our lives. So it can also be an opportunity for us to reclaim something that we feel was lost. I know for me, I feel that a certain sense of self was taken from me at a very early age. So that's something I'm personally working on reclaiming. And I know that in meditation, I'm able to really be honest with myself and my exploration of such a thing. But the other thing too that I really want to wholeheartedly recommend to anyone and everyone is to just exercise regularly. This is something else I also would like to talk more and more about. I get caught up in my head about like, do I know enough to talk on certain things, and I probably do. So I just kind of need to stop second guessing myself, which I also feel like I was conditioned to do, is to be just very self doubtful. So this is another thing for me to try to do to overcome that. But yeah, I'd like to talk more about fitness and just moving our bodies. Like, there's times where I mention to someone that it's a great idea to work out, where I mention the benefits of exercise to someone, and the first thing they do is jump to a very specific type of exercise that they don't like, and it becomes a kind of token for all of exercise in their mind. And they end up doing themselves a disservice, but they don't even realize that they're doing it, and they don't oftentimes realize where the thought is coming from. Which, speaking of which, tracing thoughts, like where thoughts come from, is also a great meditation. But as an example, people will sometimes say, like, oh, but I hate the gym. Like, I don't want to be around people. Like, I don't want people watching me, this, that, and the other. You don't have to go to the gym. There's so many different ways to get exercise, to move your body and to work out. But our bodies are meant to move. That's why we experience tightness and stiffness when we are in one position for too long. So move your body. Like, it just helps you to also connect with yourself in that way, because as we exist in this great mystery that we call life, our bodies are definitely entwined with whatever else we happen to be, if we're more than bodies or not. And so we should really be in touch with that. And there's also a psychological benefit to being in touch with our bodies too, especially when we employ somatic awareness. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score that actually talks about trauma and how it's stored in the body, in certain parts of the body. And I think that, if any of you reflect on how the different emotions you felt and where you felt them in your body, you can kind of understand and see maybe the truth to that. But it's something else that I encourage, and to journal and to write, to express ourselves, even if it isn't to anybody. That's an expectation that we have, is that our expression should be to something or someone, but it could just be into the void and for ourselves, in order for our thoughts to kind of align within our heads a bit better. And I know one thing that was a struggle for me, and something I still deal with when it comes to journaling and writing, is I've noticed how there are certain people who posthumously are, their journals or something are published, and I've always kind of had an anxiety about eyes on me since being little, and so I have a concern about, what would someone think if they came across one of my journals. And actually, this impacted me like as a kid too, because I would write something that was just for me to express myself, and then I would tear it up or burn it. I even did that with whole journals. So all that's to say is, when you journal, there's really no expectation except for you to write however you feel like writing in the moment. Whether it's just a bunch of words that you're stringing together and they make no sense, but they make some certain kind of sense on a subconscious level. Or if you just want to write like a bunch of different sentences that are bullet points, if you want to write a poem, if you want to write a short story, just whatever in the moment. But it just helps our brains to kind of reorient themselves. And it's also good for, just being creative. It's something that I do, but I don't really recommend that anybody else does it. And I'll say that over and over and over again, just because while there is a great deal of physical safety, it's still like serious business to do psychedelics. But regular psychedelic use is something that is a part of my philosophical as well as spiritual practice. But it also helps my mental health. It's certain ways of using psychedelics that can be highly therapeutic. Because there's also the recreational way as well, which, in a certain sense, recreational use can be therapeutic as well, because we need to have fun. Helps us to manage stress. What's funny is I'm talking to you, but I'm really saying that to myself because I'm not the best at having fun. I feel like such an old man. Anyway, I felt like that since my mid-20s. But yeah, I just try to is something else that's like hard for me is that, I really love psychedelics. I get a lot out of them. They're fascinating to me. There's a lot of love there, and yet I still have a hard time just because of certain things that I deal with my mental health. So again, that's why I just kind of want to, with love and with grace again, just share a message of take care of yourselves and take care of your mental health. Stretch your mind, stretch your body, exercise everything. Try not to let everything bring you down, especially your fellow man. So thank you for listening. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Take care. We'll see you next time. And I promise next time will be a lot sooner.